The mall was loud in the way only weekends could make it. Music spilled from clothing stores. Children laughed near the arcade, and the smell of fried food drifted through the open atrium. For most people, it was just another Saturday. For Elijah, Carter, it was supposed to be a reward. You said I could get the blue shoes. His youngest son Noah said, gripping Elijah's hand with both of his small ones. Elijah smiled. If they've got your size, champ. His daughter Amara, 8 years old and far too observant for her age, walked on his other side. She watched people the way Elijah did, quietly, carefully, noticing things others did. Elijah had learned that habit in uniform before the injury, before the discharge papers, before the world decided he was just another tall black man. With a limp and too much silence behind his eyes, they stopped near a sports store. Elijah leaned on his cane slightly, the old shrapnel wound in his leg aching like it always did when weather changed. That was when the first voice cut through the noise. Sir? Excuse me? Sir Elijah turned. 2 mall security officers, hands, already resting too close to their belts. Eyes not on his face, on his height, his shoulders, his jacket. Is there a problem? Elijah asked calmly. We've had a report, one of them said. You match the description of someone involved in an incident. Mara stiffened. What incident? She asked, her voice sharp. The guard ignored her. Sir, please place your hands where I can see them. Noah's fingers tightened. Daddy, he whispered. Elijah raised his hands slowly, carefully. The way they taught him overseas when the wrong movement meant you didn't go home. I'm with my kids, Elijah said. If you need to check something, let's talk. The second guard already had cuffs out. People slowed. Phones came up. This is unnecessary, Elijah said. Not angry, not loud, just firm. Turn around, sir. Amara stepped forward. You can't, Amara, Elijah said gently. It's okay. Stand back. The cuffs closed around his wrists with a metallic click that echoed far louder than it should have. The mall went quiet in a way that had nothing to do with sound. Noah started crying, and somewhere far above the earth, so far that no human eye could see it, something else noticed. Not the arrest, the reaction. The beings observing Earth did not understand tears. They were called the Valeri. And they did not conquer with fire or fleets. They conquered with judgment. Their doctrine was simple. Species that divided themselves were weak. Weak species were manageable. Manageable species were useful. Earth had been under observation for 63 of their CYCLEs. WAR, poverty, discrimination, internal conflict. A divided species, perfect. The Valeri did not need invasion ships yet. They sent assessors, invisible, silent. Constructs that watched moments of stress. Moments where truth surfaced. The arrest lit up their monitors. A father restrained. Children afraid. Crowds watching. Some angry, some silent, some recording instead of helping. Confirm classification, the overseer instructed. Primitive. Fragmented. Internally hostile, an analyst replied. Then something unexpected happened. Elijah Carter knelt with his hands cuffed behind him. Injured leg trembling, he lowered himself to Noah's eye level. Hey, he said softly. Look at me. Noah's tears slowed. Remember what I told you? Noah nodded. When things feel scary. What do we do? Noah sniffed. We breathe. We stand tall. That's right, Elijah said. Daddy's okay. You stay strong for your sister. Mara wiped her own tears and straightened. The Valeri monitors spiked. Why is the subject calming the young? An analyst asked. Pain response deviation? Another noted. He is prioritizing offspring emotional stability over self-preservation. The overseer leaned closer. That was not typical. The turn A. Woman stepped forward from the crowd. Then a man. Then another. I'm recording, someone said loudly. You don't need to do this, a mother called out. A veteran removed his cap. I served, he said. That man's wearing a combat brace. Check his record. The guards hesitated. This was also unusual species under internal strain normally fractured further. But here, something else was happening. Connection, protection. The assessors recalculated, and for the first time in recorded Valeri history, a classification algorithm failed. Above the sky, the overseer watched silently. "This species endures humiliation," it said, "yet does not collapse. It absorbs pain and redistributes it into care. A dangerous trait. Continue observation," the overseer ordered. "Focus on the children." Because species that protected their young, even while restrained, were not weak. They were patient. And patience, in the long history of the galaxy, was the most dangerous weapon of all. The first sign that something was wrong came as silence. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that presses on the ears. Birds froze mid-call. Traffic lights stalled on yellow. Phones lost signal, not dead. Just waiting. Elijah Carter noticed it while tying Noah's shoes. The house felt like it was holding its breath. "Dad," Noah whispered, "why is it quiet?" Elijah didn't answer, because his instincts, honed in places with no names, were screaming. This was contact. The broadcast that had no source, at exactly 14:03 UTC. Every screen on Earth flickered. Not hijacked. Invited. No logos. No warnings. Just a slow, luminous shift in color like dawn seen through water. Then a voice. Not male, not female. Not translated, understood. "Inhabitants of Sol 3, we acknowledge your persistence." Hospitals froze. Markets halted. Wars paused mid-command. The Valeri did not shout. They did not threaten. They spoke as one speaks to something already owned. "Your species has demonstrated resilience beyond statistical expectation." Elijah's television reflected his face. Back at him, tired, Tom. "Ready. We will now conduct direct evaluation." The screen dimmed, and then impossibly it showed him. The man on every screen. Elijah didn't move. Amara gasped. "Daddy, that's you?" Every camera angle was perfect. The mall, the arrest, the kneeling. The moment Elijah covered Noah's eyes, the Valeri voice continued. "This human was selected due to high adaptive integrity." The word "selected" echoed wrong. Elijah stepped closer to the screen. "You don't get to pick me?" he said quietly. The voice paused. The first pause in Valeri recorded communication. "Clarify. You've been watching us like a test," Elijah said. "But you don't understand what you're seeing." World leaders shouted at screens. The Valeri ignored them. They focused on the man who spoke without fear. The question. "No one expected why," the Valeri asked. "Did you not respond with violence when falsely restrained?" His kids thought of the eyes watching. Thought of how easily violence spreads. "'Cause violence would have taught my children the wrong lesson," he said. "Explain," Elijah exhaled. "Power isn't what you can do to someone," he said. "It's what you choose not to do when you could." The Valeri processor screamed. Logic loop detected dominance paradigm. File you wore. The overseer leaned forward. "Light fracturing. This human defines strength as restraint." "Impossible," an analyst replied. "Restraint leads to extinction." The overseer watched millions of humans holding hands in the streets. "Does it?" The demonstration without warning. Gravity shifted. Just slightly, enough for oceans too. Tremble, enough for mountains to feel lighter. A warning. "We can unmake your planet," the Valeri stated calmly. "Why should we not?" The world waited for Elijah to beg. He didn't. "You could," he agreed. "But you won't." "Explain." "Because if you wanted us gone," Elijah said, "we'd already be gone." The Valeri paused again. That made humans nervous because predators didn't pause. Observers did. The children. "Step forward." Mara moved into frame. "No," Elijah said softly. She ignored him. "If you're watching," she said to the sky, "then you should know something." The Valeri locked onto her. "Juvenile, unauthorized speech. We fix things," she said. "Even when they're broken." Noah held her hand. "And we forgive," he added. The Valeri had no model for forgiveness. None. There. Civilization was built on correction. Correction meant removal. The overseer whispered something ancient. This species allows failure and survives it. The first threat, the sky over the Pacific, folded, not opened. Folded, a structure the size of a continent revealed itself smooth, luminous, wrong, not invasion, presence. Evaluation will continue, the Valeri declared. Compliance is advised. Human military systems locked on. The Valeri didn't react. They had already calculated the outcome, but they had not calculated choice. The soldier who refused orders in a bunker thousands of miles away. A missile officer hesitated. I won't. Fire, she said. Launch. Her commander shouted. She looked at the screen, at Elijah, at two kids holding hands. At what cost? She asked. Across the world, similar moments unfolded. Jets held position. Submarines waited. Triggers stayed cold. The Valeri registered something unprecedented. Global coordinated non-action the. Overseer's light dimmed. They are unified without command, it said. That is dangerous. Elijah's final line, you asked why you? Shouldn't destroy us, Elijah said. His voice carried without amplification. Because we're still choosing each other. Even now, silence followed, not imposed, chosen. Then the Valeri spoke softly. Evaluation parameters. Insufficient. The structure in the sky did not advance. It receded, but not fully, like something stepping back. To think, the reclassification. Valeri Archives, a new designation appeared. Sol 3. HFY hazardous for youth overseer, made a decision that had ended civilizations before. We will not conquer, it said. We will. The analyst stared. Negotiation implied equality. Equality implied risk. The overseer watched. Elijah hugged his children. This species, it said, turns witnesses into participants. And participants, it added quietly, into resistance. Elijah Carter was released an hour later. No apology. No explanation. Just the quiet removal of the handcuffs and a muttered, "You're free to go." Freedom tasted bitter. Noah clung to his leg the entire walk to the parking lot. Amara walked. Ahead, jaw tight. Eyes hard, too hard for a child, Elijah noticed. That scared him more than the arrest. At home, he made grilled cheese cut diagonally like always. He forced jokes. He laughed louder than usual, but when the kids were asleep, Elijah sat alone at the kitchen table, hands shaking for the first time since the war. He had survived ambushes, explosions, loss. But today had been different, because today, his children had seen him powerless, and somewhere above the clouds. Unseen machines replayed that moment again and again. The Valeri debate, the Valeri Council. Did not argue often. Their society was built on predictive certainty. Conflict meant inefficiency. But Earth was becoming complicated. Subject Carter did not resist, one analyst reported. Nor did he submit emotionally. What does that mean? The overseer asked. He complied physically. Maintaining psychological dominance over the situation? The room fell silent. That is contradictory. Yes, the analyst admitted. Which is why the model is unstable. They displayed more footage. Parents stepping forward. Strangers filming. A veteran identifying another veteran without words. Children being shielded not just biologically but emotionally. These humans fracture, another analyst said. Yet in moments of injustice, they line. The overseer tapped the crystalline surface. Continue stress testing, it ordered. Escalate observation. They did not yet understand the mistake they were making. Amara's question. Next morning, Amara didn't eat breakfast. She stared at her cereal like it had betrayed her. Daddy, she said quietly, why didn't they believe you? Elijah froze. That's complicated. Is it because of your skin? She asked. He closed his eyes. Honesty was another kind of battlefield. Yes, he said finally. Sometimes Noah looked up. But you're good. Elijah smiled. Sadly, I know. Amara pushed her bowl away. That's stupid, she said. If good people get treated bad, then something's broken. Elijah opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Above Earth? Valeri Systems flagged the statement. Moral deduction, age, 8, accuracy. HIGH, the overseer, leaned forward. Why are juvenile humans identifying systemic flaws? Because an analyst replied slowly, they are taught to name pain instead of hiding it. That was not normal. Pressure points the Valeri escalated, not with invasion. With pressure, markets destabilized subtly. Supply chains faltered. Digital systems experienced errors. Nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, just enough to see what humans would do when. Stressed again, the results shocked them. Communities formed food lines. Veterans organized logistics. Teenagers delivered medicine. Strangers shared generators. It wasn't unified government, it was something older, something instinctive. Why are they helping non-kin? An analyst asked. Evolutionary anomaly, another said. No, the overseer replied. This is not anomaly. This is strategy. Elijah returns. Elijah didn't want to go back to the mall, but the kids asked. So he did. This time, people recognized him. A woman nodded. A man said, respect. Someone bought Noah a pretzel. The guards were different too. Careful. Measured. Afraid. Not of Elijah, of witnesses. That night, Valeri projection shimmered invisibly in the mall's atrium. It watched, listened, measured. Heart rates, micro-expressions, behavioral adaptation. Then something impossible happened. A man tripped. Before sensors could even log it, 5 humans moved. Hands out, voices calm, bodies positioned instinctively. No command. No hierarchy. The overseer's light flickered. This species is forming rapid response empathy clusters, it said quietly. Why is that alarming? Analyst asked. Because empathy is inefficient, the overseer replied. And yet, it scales. The child who looked up Noah stopped walking. Daddy, he said. Pointing, Elijah followed his gaze. The sky, just clouds. But Noah tilted his head. I feel like someone's watching, he whispered. Above him. A Valeri assessor froze mid-calculation. Human children were not supposed to sense observation. The system flagged. Anomaly awareness bleed. The overseer stood. Pull the assessors back. Why? Because, it said slowly, this species does not just endure observation. They notice. A new question that night. Elijah tucked his kids in. Amara hesitated before sleep. Daddy, she said, if someone bigger tries to hurt us, what do we do? Elijah thought of war, of orders, of violence. Then he thought of the mall, of kneeling, of breathing. We protect each other, he said, and we don't become what hurts us. Amara nodded. Above Earth, Valeri logic engines overheated. Contradiction detected strength without. Dominance resistance without HATR Ditha. Overseer made a decision. Earth is no longer a passive observation world. The analysts turned. Reclassification, as the overseer said grimly, from potential resource to emerging variable. A variable could not be predicted. And in Valeri history, variables either became allies or ended empires. The Valeri did not retreat. They repositioned. That distinction mattered above the Pacific. The folded structure stabilized, no longer looming, no longer withdrawing. It hovered like a held breath, its surface shifting with calculations too vast. To visualize, humans watched and waited. That alone unsettled the Valeri. Most species panicked. Humans prepared the first demand. The Valeri spoke again, but not to the world, only to Elijah. Human Carter. You have become a convergence point. Elijah felt the weight of that sentence. You put that on me, he said, not the other way around. Accepted, the Valeri replied. State your compliance parameters. Elijah laughed once. No humor in it. We don't do compliance, he said, but we'll talk. Around the globe, diplomats leaned forward. The Valeri paused. Your terms. Elijah looked down at his children, then back up. You stopped destabilizing our world, he said. No more pressure tests. No hidden harm. The Valeri process denied. Gasps rippled across Earth. Elijah didn't flinch. Then this conversation's over. The first time in Valeri history. A subject walked away from a superior intelligence. The unthinkable. Response: the Valeri did not punish him. They hesitated, inside the structure. Analysts spoke in clipped bursts. This human is escalating by disengagement. That is not escalation. Yes. Another replied, it is. He is removing us from relevance. The overseer felt something unfamiliar. Loss of control. The secret. The Valeri hid deep within the structure. Far from observation arrays? A restricted archive unlocked. Not because Elijah demanded it, because the system predicted he eventually would. The truth surfaced. The Valeri were not explorers. They were not conquerors. They were refugees. Their civilization had once faced a species like humanity fractured. It's emotional, unpredictable. That species had burned the stars. The Valeri survived by becoming cold, by removing empathy, by ensuring no variable ever grew unchecked again. Earth was not being evaluated for worth. It was being evaluated for containment. The betrayal not. All Valeri agreed with the overseer. One designation. Salith had been watching humanity differently. Not as data, as pattern. Salith saw what the overseer did not. Humans did not spread chaos. They absorbed it and changed. Salith. Data. Fragment of the archive leaked not publicly selectively to human systems, to Elijah. The message. Elijah was never meant to see screen in Elijah's living room changed. No. Broadcast, no announcement. Just a quiet shift. Footage of burning worlds, stars collapsing under forced gravity. Species erased not by weapons, but by preemptive suppression. At the center of it all, the Valeri dad, Mara whispered. Elijah clenched his fists. You're not here to test us, he said slowly.
Ow.
You're here because you're afraid. The Valeri froze. Fear was not a parameter they acknowledged, yet here it was. Humanity learns the truth. The leaked data spread faster than panic ever had. Not chaos, clarity people. They didn't riot. They didn't beg. They understood. This wasn't about Earth being weak. It was about Earth being too strong to predict. The Valeri had erased others for less. The choice, the overseer addressed Elijah one final time. Humanity will be restricted. Your expansion will be monitored. Your technological growth will be capped. Elijah stared into the sky. No, he said. Known compliance ensures termination. Elijah inhaled, then spoke words that echoed through. Valeri history. Then you'll have to kill us while we're still choosing who we are. The Valeri calculated. Probability of victory. Absolute. Probability of aftermath? Unknown. Unknown scared them. The thing they feared it wasn't human weapons. It wasn't resilience. It wasn't even empathy. It was this. Humans did not need certainty to act. They moved forward anyway. They grew anyway. Resisted anyway, even knowing the cost. The final fracture inside the structure. Salith triggered a failsafe. Not an attack, a release. Valeri containment protocols. Disengaged just enough. Earth's systems surged back to full stability. The pressure lifted. The overseer turned. You have doomed us, it told Salith. No, Salith replied. I've given us a chance. The Valeri's last admission, the sky spoke once more. Not with authority, with honesty. Humanity of Soul 3, you are not suitable for containment. Pause. You are not suitable for conquest. Dada. Pause. You are unsuitable for extinction. The structure folded inward, not gone, but distant, watching from farther away. Elijah's quiet victory that night. Elijah tucked his kids into bed. No speeches, no cheers, just normal. Are they gone? Noah asked. Elijah smiled softly. No, he said they're thinking. Amara yawned. Good, she said. They should. Elijah turned off the light above Earth. Valeri Records updated one final line. The universe did not change all at once. It changed quietly. The Valeri structure remained distant, watching from beyond Luna's orbit. Like a scar the sky refused to forget. No pressure fields, no interference, no tests. For the first time since humanity had looked up at the stars, nothing pushed back, and that terrified the Valeri more than resistance ever had. The cost of Mersey Salith stood alone in the containment core. Light flickered through her formant stable now. Fragmented, you violated prime survival law. The f***s, Overseer said. Salith did not deny it. You exposed classified extinction protocols, the Overseer continued. You empowered a variable civilization. Yes, Salith replied calmly. And for the first time in 10,000 cycles, I slept without predictive dread. The Overseer's voice hardened. Mercy is inefficiency. Salith turned toward the projection of Earth blue hole, alive. So is fear, she said. The Valeri passed judgment. Salith would not be erased. That would make her a martyr instead. She would be cast out, banished alone, to drift. The signal humanity shouldn't have heard as Salith was expelled. Her failing core released one final burst. Not language, not data. A map coordinate spread through human networks. Not by governments, but by students, hobbyists. Engineers who had grown up solving impossible problems for fun. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a threat. It was a door, and it was open. The debate. That never happened. World leaders gathered. Arguments were prepared. Warnings issued. Caution urged humanity. Listened, then ignored them. Because the decision wasn't political. It was human. The same species that crossed oceans without knowing what waited on the other side. Was not about to stay home now. Elijah's choice Elijah stood on a quiet hillside with his children, staring at the stars. They're asking you again, Amara said. He nodded. They want a symbol, he replied. Someone to speak for us. Noah frowned. Why you? Elijah thought of kneeling in a mall, of covering eyes, of choosing restraint. Because I didn't try to be brave, he said. I just tried to be human. He declined the role. Instead, he sent a message. Short, simple. Broadcast everywhere. We don't need a representative. We move together. The Valeri intercepted it. They did not understand it. That made it dangerous first. Contact humanity's way. The first human vessel to cross the threshold wasn't a warship. It wasn't sleek. It wasn't perfect. It was modular. Patched. Built by international teams who argued. Laughed. Failed. Fixed. Tried again. Painted on its hull were words in 100 languages. One meaning. We. Kamsu. Yes, the Valeri analysts panicked. No weapons arrays detected. No dominant signals. No submission codes. The Overseer stared at the projection. They are entering without permission. That violates protocol? The Overseer's light dimmed. Yes, it said quietly. That is their pattern. The Galactic watches other civilizations notice. Species that had hidden. Species that had complied. Species that had survived by. Shrinking, they watched humans arrive, not demanding space, not claiming superiority, just showing up, fixing things, listening, asking questions no one had dared ask. Why were certain systems empty? Why were histories incomplete? Why did everyone fear the Valeri? The answer spread. So did hope. The Valeri's final fear it. It wasn't rebellion. It wasn't war. It was influence. Humanity didn't conquer systems. They changed. It's conversations. Former Valeri-controlled species began speaking openly, sharing stories, sharing. Grief, empathy once dismissed as weakness, became contagious. The Overseer reviewed the projections for the first time. The future was unreadable. Salith returned years later. A damaged signal reached human space, drifting, fading. Elijah was older, now gray at the temples. Still calm, they brought the signal to him anyway, because some instincts never stop being right. Salith's voice crackled through. You were correct, she said weakly. Your species does not expand. Pause. It connects. Human ships altered course without orders. No debate, no hesitation. They rescued her, not because she was useful, but because she was there. The final entry in Valeri records, the Overseer watched as humans and Salith spoke not as allies, not as enemies, as equals. The Valeri archive updated itself one last time. Species, human threat level, existential reason. They do not seek control. They do not seek perfection. They accept uncertainty and move forward anyway. The Overseer powered down long-range suppression systems. For the first time ever, Elijah's last listen, Elijah sat with his grandchildren under a sky filled with unfamiliar stars. Did we win? One asked. Elijah smiled. No, he said. We chose. That's better, the child replied. Elijah looked up, a universe no longer silent, no longer watching, but listening.